This week's Color Rescue, we're talking about gallery walls again. Why? Because there are some of you that have been living for years, maybe even 10 years with no art on the walls. So I want to give you some freedom around that. We're talking about decorating corner walls because what you need to know about corner walls is that if you walk into a room and you see the corner of a wall, you must treat it like one and put art on both sides. That's the ticket. So we're also going to be focused a little bit on offices because they can be kind of bleak, dark, and just, missing the softness kind of spaces. So we're going to spend some time on offices too. And also I'm going to show you the best picture hanging hook that will only put the tiniest little prick in the wall so that then if you make a mistake, it's okay. You can just move it. So let's get started. So the first office that you're going to see is located right in the middle of the home, right across from the stairwell. And my client said that whenever guests would come over, they would quickly close the door to make sure that nobody could see the bleak, dark office that it was. So the first thing I did was move the bookshelf away from being the first thing you saw when you looked into the office. And then that created this corner wall that we turned into a gallery wall, and it's super fabulous.
The best way to style a corner wall like this, which means if this is the wall you see when you first walk into any room, then you must treat them like one wall, just like we did here for my client. So we went shopping with the 3 pieces of original art that she already had, but that's not enough art. So we found these pieces from Home Sense or Home Goods, and these 2 pieces to fill in. They're approximately 4 or 5 inches apart, and they go up like a triangle. That's a good tip to keep in mind when you are hanging art on a corner like this. The other styling trick that I like to use is that if you have a desk that usually has monitors, it's kind of a mess, put a nice little vase of faux flowers on the desk with a couple of matching books in the colors of the room, and this way your eye goes straight to the happy little flower bouquet instead of at the mess. The other thing we did to lighten up the brown on brown on brown room was to add a little rug in blues that pick up the colors in the artwork. In addition, we found this great little contemporary chair that's solid all the way down, and it covers up all the cords. So it gives you double duty because at the same time when your spouse comes to have a meeting, they can sit down.
Now this next office had built-in millwork. It was a space created for 2 people to work together. And we immediately removed the cabinets right in the middle because they were really lumpy, and it created this, again, additional opportunity to put up some art, put a lamp in the corner that immediately created a mood. Don't forget to still light up each corner of the room in your office, and it'll be a way happier space than just that one little bleak light over top of your paperwork. So make sure that you have either a standing lamp, another lamp in the corner, so that you're at least got 3 corners illuminated with lamps. And I promise you it will transform how you feel in your office. Now, I don't want you to get a little too worked up over getting it up in the first place. It's fabulous to have art on the walls, and it just transforms the room in a way that nothing else really does. Over curtains, I'd have to say. But how far apart your art should actually be hung kind of depends on how much you have. The more you have, the more you will have it closer together, like in this particular corner, for example. The other thing, don't get too worked up about the holes in the walls. So here is a great little picture hanging professional hook. I will link it below. And it creates the smallest little prick in the wall, and you can move it around without creating too much damage. But don't get too worried about having a few holes behind the art. Once it's up, you're never going to move it again anyway. And if you do, it's okay because it's covered up by the art. Now, the other way that you could do this would be to get some craft paper, cut it all up so that it matches the same size as all of your art, and then you can play around with it on the wall in advance. This was a client who wanted to put up a family wall, and so we got a bunch of IKEA frames. which already had the papers in each one. We were able to just move them around until we were really happy with the way they looked, and then we hung the art after that. So that would be another way of doing it. The other thing I want you to notice about these remaining examples is how there's a layering happening behind lamps, behind the columns, behind a desk. Don't be afraid to just continue your art behind the TV, behind the monitor. It creates a really nice layered designer look. Just make sure that you've got a piece of art behind something perhaps that you don't necessarily care if you're looking at it all the time, right? I think people get a little too significant about art. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know that I have coined a new phrase. It's art as wallpaper. So there's so many people that end up with just live, laugh, love on their walls because they don't know what to buy. And I'm telling you, if you go out to a big box store that carries a bunch of art, which really all came from a print book anyway, that we used to go and leaf through and pick something, get it blown up. This is just way cheaper, which is so great because then you can create such a beautiful look. So go to a big box store and then get it all together and bring some art of yours. Just like in this particular house, they already had 3 original pieces. So all we did was then add in, layer in the colors that worked with their original pieces to create a gallery wall, which they wouldn't have had without the addition of the big box art, which made such a huge transformation to the room. Now this office is just a place of joy. You know, when guests walk in, they get to gasp at how pretty it is and how full of color and full of life it is. So don't be afraid to bring in some color, collect some artwork, and then hang it up, get it up. That is what my great advice of the day is. If you like this content, subscribe below, and please send me your color rescue images. If you have a bathroom or a kitchen or a room that needs a rescue, clean up the room and send it over to my color rescue account, mariakillam@gmail.com. And maybe your room will find its way into my color rescue channel sometime soon. See you next time.